Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Even though I am a huge fan of Canva in certain design aspects, you will all know that I will never ever tell someone to design a logo in Canva. Even if you want to do it just as a starting point, it's not a good idea. A logo needs to be able to build trust and be recognizable from the start, and is honestly the best investment you can make for your business. If you are someone looking for brand design or logo design, rather pop me an email or fill in my inquiry form link down below. And if you're a graphic designer, stay tuned and watch the process of logo designing from start to finish. So step one is understanding the brief. There's always a need for a brief when designing a logo. This is because you need to understand your client and its consumers and competitors. One way to do this is to start off by doing brand research. This will be research about the consumer, the target audience, and even the competitors, so that you are sure that you understand where the brand needs to be placed in its target audience. One way you can do this is by starting off by having a really good introductory meeting with your client to ensure that you can really understand where they are coming from and what they are expecting for their brand. In your client meeting, it is super important that you ask all the correct questions. These questions will entail questions like, what is your brand personality? If your brand was a person, who would it be? How would they be? And act? And also, what is your brand values and how do you want to be positioned within your community? This will ensure that you can gain an understanding of the brand personality before you start designing, as this is super important. Moving on to step 2, which is the mood board design process. You can never start off a logo design without having a proper mood board and inspiration board in place. In my opinion, this is the most important step of the entire process. It is also really important to create the mood board and send it off for client approval before you start designing. This will ensure that you and the clients are on the same page about what needs to be designed, and just so that you have a clear direction in which way you are moving. You can even do this by creating 2 or 3 mood boards and having them choose a specific style, and this will make your process a lot easier. Doing this, you will create a smooth process that will have less revisions, and you will be able to get to the final product in a much quicker and smoother way. If you guys are interested in seeing how I do my mood boards or what the process is I follow with mood boards, please let me know down below in the comments and I will definitely do a detailed video on this as well. Moving on to step 3, which is finding the appropriate typography. As we all know, logos are basically based off of typography. There are few logos which is just the logo. Most of them have some form of type in there as well. Your mood board should be a clear direction of what typography you are going to be using. This will make the process much easier of finding a specific typography that will work for this brand. I always look for my typography on Envato Elements, which I will also have linked down below. They have millions of typography, and from my experience, everything that you can find on Creative Market or on Pinterest, you will find on Envato Elements as well. And they have such a big variety to choose from, and this is really amazing. I always start off by choosing 3 to 5 specific fonts and comparing them next to each other on the artboard. By comparing them, you will be able to see which one fits the brand personality better. This also helps if you are combining fonts, which will sometimes occur, that the process is made easier and you can just see which ones work better. You will keep on comparing the fonts and narrowing them down until you have the final font that you are going to be using. On a side note, always remember to copy your font and keep a separate version of it, just so that you don't create outlines of the font and then you can't find it when you go back. This has happened to me before, and then you have to sit there for hours and search for a font. So just always remember to copy it before you move on to outlining the text. Step 4 is really one of the most creative processes in the entire process, and that is creating variations of the logo. It is super important that you remember that you need at least 3 variations of a logo: the primary logo, a secondary logo, and a logo mark. Sometimes this will include brand patterns as well, or just various ways of combining the logo, as in vertical or horizontal stacking, and circular logos can also be thrown in there. This is the stage of the process where you will be starting to add design elements into the logo if there is a need for this. If it's just a typographic logo, this won't be needed, but in most cases there will be some form of design element. This was also the stage where you can add in secondary fonts on the bottom or at the top of the logo, or where like the est will come into the logo. You will continue to play around with this until you have 3 very strong variations of the logo. Step 5 is incorporating color and giving the brand life. After you have designed all of the logo variations, you will start incorporating color from the chosen color palette that the client has decided on. This will ensure that the logo works in black and white and in color as well. If you don't know, it's super important to start designing a logo in black and white, just because it's easier for the client to use in certain situations like printing. The color variations will then be included in the brand presentation, which is a really good idea just to give it the brand a little bit more life and show the clients how it will be showcased in a real world situation. Step 6, which is a really important part of the process, is presenting the logo. This is the way you will be sending it over to the client and getting their approval on the final logo. If I can give you guys one piece of advice, is to never ever send a client a JPEG of a logo. Don't just send them through a PNG of it or a JPEG of the logo. It looks super unprofessional and won't give off that whole successful professional vibe that you are going to try and give off. Another tip is to always create mock-ups of the logo, as this makes it seem more professional and the client can see how they will actually be using their branding. Envato Elements also has an amazing range of mock-ups, which I always use to present my logos to my clients. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that it was insightful and that it will help you guys on your journey of branding logos. Please remember to subscribe and like this video down below, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye guys.